In an industry that keeps churning out female superheroes who are beacons of strength, power, and love, Harley Quinn is the reigning anti-heroine.
I'm here to report a terrible crime. This one.
The Birds of Prey star is manic.
I'm off my meds.
And for most of her history, hung up on a guy who's bad news.
You'd think after living with Mr. J, I'd be used to a little pain.
But she's also intriguingly full of contradictions, countering her toxic situation and disturbed psyche with an irrepressibly colorful outlook and a fun-loving girlishness.
Isn't this fun? It's just like a sleepover. We should order pizza. Big cosmos.
Ultimately, it's significant that, unlike with the seemingly perfect women we're used to seeing on screen, this character's flaws and her particular brand of weirdness are key parts of why viewers are drawn to her.
It's just like a bottomless pit of, issues and fun.
Reviewers have seen her as DC's female equivalent to Deadpool for her R-rated irreverent playfulness.
You're that psycho chick. I never call a woman a chick. I'll accept broad, lady, woman, and on occasion, bitch. Bitch.
Well, I may be super, but I am no hero.
We can see big cultural shifts reflected in Harley's evolution from throwaway character and neglected love interest to the protagonist of her own story, who rivals the Joker in terms of charisma, individuality, and box office centrality.
She's crazier than him and more fearless.
This is now shaping up to be the era of Harley. The animated series Harley Quinn premiered in November 2019.
He does not love you. You have to leave him. And don't say you don't know him like I do.
And the character is only the second woman in the DC franchise to get her own movie. DC co-publisher Jim Lee has called her the fourth pillar in our publishing line, behind Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. So what does the rise of Harleywood say about our cultural moment?
I wasn't the only dame in Gotham looking for emancipation.
Here's our take on the evolution of Harley Quinn and how her emancipation heralds a time where female heroes are free to be less than perfect.
Aw, come on, Puddin'. Don't you want to rev up your Harley? Vroom, vroom.
This video is brought to you by NordVPN, the world's fastest and most secure virtual private network. Right now, they're offering a limited time deal to our viewers. Click the link in the description below, nordvpn.com/thetake, to get 70% off a 3-year plan. That's only $349 per month. And enter the code THETAKE to get an extra month of NordVPN for free.
Quick history lesson.
Harley is the rare superhero movie character who didn't originate on the pages of a comic book. Instead, she was introduced in the Joker's Favor episode of Batman the Animated Series in 1992. Paul Dini, then a freelance writer for the show, had been thinking about giving the Joker a henchwoman, and inspiration struck when he watched his friend Arlene Sorkin on Days of Our Lives playing a roller skating jester in a fantasy sequence.
Okay, 2 drummer boys going to a bar. Ba-dum-ba-dum-bum.
Sorkin was cast as the voice of Harley Quinn, who was, according to her co-creator Bruce Timm, always intended to be a one-shot character in just one episode. But the show quickly realized it had struck gold with Harley and brought her back several months later for the episode The Laughing Fish, after which she became a recurring presence as the Joker's sidekick and girlfriend.
Presenting that caliph of clowns, that mogul of mountebanks, the one and only Joker!
Harley's character was informed by old-school gangster malls, actress Judy Holliday,
Maybe it's right what you say. I'm still dumb. But I know one thing I never knew before. There's a better kind of life than the one I got.
and Sorkin herself. Her name is a clear play on Harlequin, the archetype descended from Commedia dell'arte's Arlecchino.
Like the clown character Harlequin.
It's a name that puts a smile on my face.
The etymology of this name underlines that her first identity was as a female version of the Joker. She was another clown-like figure who brought chaotic energy, mischief, and glee to her destructive acts.
Something tells me a whole lot of people are about to die.
Meanwhile, the other side of Harley's original identity, which lives on to this day, is that of the lover. This woman is defined by her undying devotion to her Puddin'.
Hi, Puddin'.
And this capacity for empathy and affection is proof that, at her core, she was never just the Joker in a woman's body.
The Joker doesn't love anything except himself.
Wake up, Harleen.
1994's one-shot comic book Mad Love revealed her origin story. Dr. Harleen Quinzel, a psychiatry intern at Arkham Asylum who treated the Joker, fell hard for her patient.
She thought she was curing him, but she was falling in love.
So we can glean that the Joker unleashes a passion in Harley, which was previously repressed under a buttoned-up professional exterior.
Well, I've always had an attraction for extreme personalities.
It's her conviction that she can save this damaged, misunderstood bad boy.
It soon became clear to me that the Joker, so often described as a raving, homicidal madman, was actually a tortured soul crying out for love and acceptance.
That leads her to cross over to the dark side and become his partner in crime.
To show Mr. J I could really pull off one of his plans.
Harley's redeeming quality, her sensitive, boundless heart, is also her undoing, because her mad love is directed towards the most unlovable person there is.
I am not someone who is loved.
Deep down, Harley dreams of domestic bliss.
And now all this gal wants is to settle down with her lovin' sweetheart.
Sorkin has described how, to get into character on her way to do voice work on Batman, she would sing the Guys and Dolls song Adelaide's Lament, about a woman bemoaning her man's failure to walk her down the aisle.
In other words, just from waiting around for that plain little band of gold, a person could develop a cold.
In 2016, Suicide Squad, when the Enchantress can see each person's greatest desire, we learn that Harley wants nothing more than a traditional life as a wife and mom, even if she can't admit this outright.
Normals is setting on the dryer.
Thus, the tragedy of Harley is that she wants something she can never have, as the object of her affections simply isn't capable of loving her back in a healthy way.
A heart scares you and a gun doesn't?
In 1999's Batman Harley Quinn #1, her first canonical appearance in a DC Universe comic book, the Joker is so unnerved by the feelings he's developing for Harley that he actually tries to kill her, and most of the time he's hung up on someone else.
So when people ask you who's your #1 bad guy, you say?
Superman.
Are you seriously saying that there is nothing special about our relationship?
But to acknowledge her boyfriend's villainy would also mean accepting that he doesn't reciprocate her love.
You're wrong! My puddin' does love me, does!
So as long as she's defined by her love for Joker, denial and self-deception must remain key facets of her psyche.
Sure, my puddin's a little temperamental. But gee, what relationship doesn't have its ups and downs?
Tim initially worried that giving the Joker a girlfriend would humanize him, but it actually had the opposite effect, because the hurt he inflicts on his loving girlfriend is so personal, the couple's twisted relationship made him feel like an even more frightful, reprehensible villain. Harley's and Joker's dynamic has always been grisly, even from her start in Batman the Animated Series, a show targeted at children.
My fault. I didn't get the joke.
The way the Joker manipulates this mental health professional also highlights his mastery of psychological violence.
As a dedicated, career-oriented young woman, you felt the need to abstain from all amusement and fun. It's only natural you'd be attracted to a man who could make you laugh again.
I knew you'd understand.
He fools Harley with crocodile tears over his supposed daddy issues.
You know, my father used to beat me up pretty badly.
And makes her feel special through flattery and revealing his secrets.
It makes me feel there's someone here I can relate to. Someone who might like to hear my secrets.
He turns her into a devout disciple, unerringly faithful no matter how badly he treats her.
Why do you put up with that clown?
Don't get me wrong, my puddin's a little rough sometimes, but he loves me, really.
Thus, Harley's devotion foreshadowed this character's power to inspire cult-like followers, which we've seen become central to the darkly charismatic, more mythical iterations of the figure from the Dark Knight era on.
Do I look like the kind of clown that could start a movement?
The full title of Harley's new movie, Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, underlines that this is the story of Harley becoming free. Most centrally, she's extricated herself from the toxic relationship that's long defined her.
The Joker and I broke up.
And this character, who was basically designed to add dimension to a man,
A Harley Quinn's role is to serve. It's nothing without a master.
now gets to tell her own story.
Also, you're being told a story through Harley Quinn's
eyes, so the world is colored by that sort of craziness.
Harley's way of seeing the world comes through in the film's visual language, which is far more vivid and colorful than the gritty Suicide Squad. Incidentally, her love of color is fitting, given that one definition of the word Harlequin is fancifully varied in color. As the first DC heroine to get her own movie since Wonder Woman, Harley represents a new kind of strong female lead, one female viewers can see themselves in precisely because she's not a Wonder Woman or a clear-cut role model. These days, female superheroes are often most distinguished by their strength and a strong moral code.
Then I'm willing to fight for those who cannot fight for themselves.
But imperfect Harley reminds us of those male comic book characters who get to be complicated and a little morally ambiguous.
Apparently, I'm volatile, self-obsessed, don't play well with others.
That I did know.
In the words of Amanda Connor, co-writer of the Harley Quinn comic series, Wonder Woman sort of represents perfection, whereas Harley represents everybody else. Even her past obsession with a guy who doesn't treat her well,
he's not coming.
That is just one person's opinion.
He's not coming!
is something many viewers can relate to.
Maybe I've dated men who were wrong for me, but who hasn't?
So this seriously flawed female protagonist is an important next step beyond a one-note you-go-girl mentality. And she might foreshadow a new movie era of super anti-heroines, as powerful as they are full of interesting faults. As Harley leans into life without her man, she could also become one of the, as yet, very few superhero characters who explore an alternative sexuality on screen. After much fan speculation that there was more to Harley's longtime friendship with Poison Ivy,
Gee, Red, you got style!
In 2015, the DC Twitter account confirmed that they're girlfriends without monogamy. In the 2017 comic Harley Quinn number 25, they shared a kiss. And star Margot Robbie has expressed hope for a Harley Poison Ivy reunion in the DC Extended Universe.
I'd love to do a Poison Ivy film because I love in the comics the Harley Poison Ivy relationship. Some comics it's romantic, some comics it's just friendship. Either way, I'm fascinated by that.
Harley's journey toward emancipation hasn't followed a straight line though, and not all changes have served her story for the better.
You're cute. You want me? I'm all yours.
After starting out with a chaste, full-body jester costume, she was reimagined in looks designed to show off a lot more skin. In the Batman Arkham Asylum video game, she debuted a more risque, corseted costume. And in Suicide Squad, she's very overtly eroticized.
You know the rules, hotness. You gotta keep off these bars.
And these bars?
Oh my God.
Birds of Prey, while maintaining a loose continuity with Harley's Suicide Squad aesthetic, develops a new version of her look which Robbie describes as definitely less male-gazy. Even if Birds of Prey is asserting its female point of view and walking back that ultra-seductive version of Harley, in these recent installments the character's personality has also transformed into someone noticeably different from her original self. In the 90s animated series, she was characterized by compelling vulnerability and sensitivity. The show leaned into her contradictions and invited viewers to feel deeply for her.
I am not a doormat! Am I?
By contrast, the super sexy, ever-playful woman-child she's become is full of a carefree swagger that risks making her less relatable and taking some of the humanity out of her character.
Why don't you stop acting like a drunken stripper?
Moreover, while most would obviously applaud Harley's choice to exit her toxic relationship, her longtime inability to leave a man she clearly should have also captured a very real psychology that's worth examining in a deep, layered narrative.
I can't believe you're still mooning over that psychotic creep.
Well, maybe I'd feel better if I knew he missed me too.
According to Robbie, Harley may not truly be as over her put-in as she appears. Robbie told Empire, "She's trying to own it. It's not clean and easy to be a strong woman. It's so hard. She's a bit more Courtney Love than Debbie Harry this time. She says, 'I'm single, I don't need him, that guy.' But if the Joker were to text her, 'You up?' she'd run. She'd fall to pieces."
Ready to embrace the fierce goddess within.
This portrait that Robbie's words paint, of a woman acting like she's impervious while a tempest of emotion rages underneath, is classic Harley at her core. A lover who'll never stop feeling for the Joker, even if she walks away, and a vulnerable basket case who's digging deep to summon that strong woman within.
I'll show you. You'll be sorry. I'll pull a big heist and I'll be laughing laughing at you. Ha ha, you hear? Laughing.
I miss him already.
It's not just our anti-heroine moment that's being reflected here. Birds of Prey also dramatizes the emotions of the Me Too era. Director Kathy Yan said, "It's about Harley as well as the other birds coming into their own, recognizing that they are stronger together than they are apart."
We're gonna have to work together.
The Girl Gang movie, which is also written and directed by women, focuses on Harley's bond with other women as they team up to protect a young girl from Black Mask, the villain that actor Ewan McGregor describes as a true misogynist.
For all your noise and bluster, you're just a silly little girl with no one around to protect her.
So it's as if, symbolically, Harley and her crew are fighting misogynism itself and trying to prevent it from hurting future generations of girls. Themes of female payback and making bad men answer for their sins are in the zeitgeist right now, as we can see in movies like Promising Young Woman, which, like Birds of Prey, has a sugary sweet color palette and is produced by Robbie.
It's every guy's worst nightmare getting accused like that.
Can you guess what every woman's worst nightmare is?
Yet, even though Birds of Prey channels difficult emotional undercurrents of today's climate, the result is anything but grim or gritty. The premise is executed with a cute, playful soul.
Named him Bruce after that hunky Wayne guy.
And crucially, there's something fundamentally feminine about the movie. It portrays the desire to team up with your girlfriends to bring down a bad guy. And very importantly, have fun while you're at it. This positivity is a big part of what fans have always loved about Harley herself. No matter how much pain life throws her way, her sweet, open spirit drives her to pick herself up and bounce back. And this resilient, optimistic outlook, echoed in the candy-colored glasses through which she views the world, is the most aspirational thing about her.
Psychologically speaking, vengeance rarely brings the catharsis we hope for.
Yeah. Are we ready?
Harley has shifted between a variety of identities over the years: ambitious psychiatrist, smitten lover, abuse victim, emancipated woman. But there's no need to limit her, or any other female character, to just one simple label. All of these iterations are still a part of her, forever informing who she is.
Harley is a bit schizophrenic, so she has voices in her head, and one of her voices is Dr. Quinzel.
This is underscored by scenes where her psychiatrist side unexpectedly resurfaces.
Another textbook sociopath.
An only child with deep-seated father issues.
Throughout this character's evolution, a few key things have stayed the same: her wild, free spirit, her vulnerability, and most of all, her big heart.
I knew you'd come through.
That's why, no matter how many times she stumbles, frustrates us, or makes the worst possible choice, we can't help falling in love with Harley Quinn.
And say that we're sweethearts again.
This video is brought to you by NordVPN, the ultimate resource in internet security. NordVPN offers military-grade encryption and never logs your data, so you know your online privacy is protected. They're also the best VPN for P2P, or peer-to-peer networking. P2P is one of the fastest ways to share files with large groups of people, but usually the catch is that every device uploading or downloading the same file can see each other's IP address. NordVPN improves your P2P experience by securing your IP address, protecting you from bandwidth throttling, and encrypting your entire online traffic. Click the link in the description below, nordvpn.com/thetake, to get 70% off a 3-year plan. If you enter the code THETAKE, you'll receive an additional month of NordVPN for free.